Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Dragon Age Inquisition. In the last episode, things happened, but this is a Codex episode, but so you guys don't care what things might. You know what? Maybe you probably do, but oh, let's get into the Codexes. Anyway, let's see what we have here. What's down here? Number 17 is brand new for us. Oh, the hero for Elden. Hell yeah. The hero for Elden was the daughter of Bryce Kuzlin, Terran Pyre, when Arwendan Howe's forces attacked the castle Kuzlin and murdered most of the Kuzlin family. The hero escaped to safety with the Grey Warden, Commander Duncan, who then recruited her into the Order. After defeating the Archdemon and ending the Fifth Blight, the hero for Elden was wed to King Alistair and crowned Queen of Ferelden. She and the king ruled the country together until she disappeared several years later. Where the fuck did she go? The Inquisition has discovered that she has gone west in search of a way to cure the calling. Oh! That's pretty awesome. That sounds hardcore as shit. Jesus, that sounds awesome though. Magister Airmond. Dude, he looks way cooler in his picture than he is in real life. My dearest Demetrius, I hope this letter finds you recovered from those ghastly meetings about road repair or important taxes or whatever terribly important work has consumed your time. I applaud your patriotic efforts to maintain the Imperium's infrastructure while the horned beasts to the north wage bloody war upon us. I have asked before, but you are my closest friend, and now that you have seen the stirrings of our work, I hoped you might reconsider. You cannot think your talents adequately spent on road work, Mitri. You must come from the blood of the dreamer. You come from the blood of dreamers. My master will restore the Imperium to a greatness it has not seen since our ancestors walked in the Golden City. He will know rule not just a nation, but the world. Oh, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Mixing words up. Those who show loyalty now stand to reap the benefits when all the world kneels to the Minotauri. Perhaps you are more comfortable with roads. When my master returns to venture to the glory it deserves, he will be pleased to find the nation well paved. Consider well, my friend, Magister Livius Airmond of Varantium. Okay. Professor Friedrich Soralt. That's him? The picture they used for the character Codex thing is him. Anton, if anyone alive can answer your questions about the social habits of the Greater Vinmark Wyvern, it is Friedrich of Soralt, Professor of Draconology at the University of Orlais. I have met him a few times, and he is exceedingly knowledgeable about his field of study, although less knowledgeable about his current state of dress, the day of the week, and the location of his quilling, but nonetheless quite brilliant. Cordially, Magister Zaldiron Antonidas. Fuck, I don't know his name, dude. Sarah has new things. Denerim. Sarah's claim to have lived in Denerim cannot be verified, but seems likely. The alienage there was neither stable nor secure. Many residents of the city fled the region following the blight. Given her nature, Valrail would have seemed rife with targets. Denerim has more than its share of suspect nobility, but most are rallied against a common enemy, thanks to the efforts of the hero Ferelden. Forced to, more like shits and double shits. Lady Emerald. I attempted to find more information about this Lady Emerald Sarah mentioned. It is difficult, given how many noble houses were all but erased during the blight. Emerald seems a recent name, rather than established nobility. Perhaps the title of lady was a negotiated honorific due to mercantile holdings. Didn't say she didn't work hard, she said she was a bitch. Addendum. On Sarah's hatred of Darkspawn, having read the reports. Who doesn't hate Darkspawn? I might have expected that someone with ties to Ferelden, and specifically Denerim, would harbor a violent dislike of Darkspawn. Whatever claim she has to family, all were threatened during the blight. They don't look right, not living. Oh my god. Addendum on Red Jenny. Caches in populated areas it bewilders how such things go unnoticed, but perhaps that is the power of the practiced servant. They are keenly aware of what escapes the preoccupied eye. Sarah, of course, can spy them instantly. She seems an extreme version of a very narrow definition of perceptive. I press for a schedule or even some hint of procedure, but she is content to rely on the unknown. It may seem exciting, but I should find it ever so frustrating if I were searching. Oh, it's just red, right? Bet she'd see it if it was on a hat out of season. Addendum on Sarah's fascination with dragons. I did not know what Sarah finds in dragons that enthralls her so, but it is clear from her excited admissions that battling them speaks to her in a way for which she is not prepared. At least in my estimation. If you seek an admission, at best she will declare that was grand or similar. She's hardly introspective. Nevertheless, she has expressed an interest in any future hunts. A crude drawing of Sarah, tongue out, standing atop a dragon, mimicking its horns out with her fingers. Hiss can't draw saddles. Can't trust. It's like a bean. It looks like a bean. Whatever. No addendums on him. Any addendums on him? Oh, let's see it. Okay, crafting materials. Well, this is easy. Ghoul's beard. Ghouls don't really have beards, do they? I imagine some do, if they had beards before coming ghouls, that is. What? You don't think they grow them after beguilement? Beguilement? Anyway, isn't it caused by the blight? Nothing can grow on a blighted crown. I don't think that applies to hair, does it? Skin isn't really ground. Why are we discussing this? I'm bored. And Skin's dead, so there's that. I'm bored. Can you believe she's forgotten she already talked about Ghoul's beard 2 weeks ago? Be nice. She's mature. It's hardly useful, unless you want to kill someone, ruin their minds, or some ghastly combination of the two. There was that one story about a cat that chewed on Ghoul's beard and ended up bursting into flames. What? You're just proving my point here. Ugh, I hope she doesn't make us touch it again. That thing is so repulsive. Plants really shouldn't be hairy. Like a Ghoul's beard? Ha. Stop laughing, I think she heard you. Shit, she's coming. Notes passed between apprentice mages. Very listen. Vandal Aria. The Vandal Aria is a flowering shrub related to the rare and nearly extinct Felicidius Aria, otherwise known as the Silent Plains Rose. Of course, neither variety of Aria is a true rose, and they are called roses only because of their sweet scent. The fragrance of the Vandal Aria, however, is lighter and greener than that of her rare cousin, and redolent of honey and cut grass. The Felicidius Aria is best known for being the only plant capable of growing on blighted land. Vandal Aria lacks this quality, but is capable of proliferating almost everywhere else. Even though she seems to favor dry, arid climes, if left to grow wild, the Vandal Aria will take over space, choking out any other plant unfortunate enough to be in her way. An excerpt from the Botanical Compendium by Inez Arencia. Alright, creatures. Creatures. Oh my god, I fought everything. I literally have fought. There's only 2 things I haven't fought. Despair Demon. Oh. I've read about it. I just researched some stuff. That's all that's saying. Okay. Damage against demons increased. That's nice. I've also read this. Just telling me that I had stuff added on. Okay. Ghoul. I'm pretty sure I've also read that. Nope, I don't think I have. Among the saddest legacies of the Fifth Blight are those poor souls who survive the Darkspawn attacks across Ferelden only to succumb to the corruption of the Blight itself. We have seen animals, birds, wolves, and even bears corrupted into mindless ruinations of their former selves, but humans are by no means immune. Those unfortunate victims not killed quickly by contact with the Darkspawn blood or disease become mad with fever. Their bodies lose their hair and become misshapen with sores. In their last lucid thoughts, many speak of a hearing whispered words or a song that no one else can see or catch. It is vital that one's victims begin hearing such things. They are put out of their misery quickly and mercifully. There are stories across Ferelden of these ghouls, maddened by the corruption of the Blight, attacking their friends and spreading the corruption further. While it is likely that the sickness will eventually kill a ghoul, the dying strength of those poor creatures makes them nearly as great a danger as the Darkspawn themselves. They are no longer our friends, our family, or our countrymen. They are victims of the Blight, and must be given the same mercy Hessarian showed Andraste, the swift sword. An excerpt from Marks the Blight by Sister Dorcas Guerin. Dorcas. No. Alright. Great Bear. Great Bear. I don't know if I read this. The Orlesian Great Bear is so named because it is very large indeed. Other names for it include the colorful old man of the forest, what? And the less charming but more clearly descriptive woodsman's death. I am told that they are only found in remote parts of the Dales, and that not even the nobility is willing to hunt, which makes them unique among the rare giant deadly exotic fauna of Thedas. The only thing the Orlesians are truly afraid of. On Pursuit of Knowledge, Travels of a Chantry Scholar. Brother Jenny TV. Watson. Wish there was a way to, scroll down without knowing if I've read or not. Hyena. The common hyena is a remarkable predator, flourishing in the harshest of conditions. Packs working in a concert have sometimes taken down prey as formidable as a great bear. It's an incredible sight, but you should keep your distance because one of those beauties took down my Bronto in under a minute. From the Wilds of Fate is Volume 2 by Stefan de Aruni. Okay. What's this? Nightmare. I definitely did not read about that. My friends, we accept as the fact that more powerful and intelligent demons select more complex aspects of our reality to observe and interact with. A demon of pride may gravitate to the corrupt hubris of nobles, the bloodthirsty arrogance of soldiers, or sadly, the blind confidence of mages. A demon of desire may focus on lust, greed, or even the desperate wishes of those with no recourse in the waking world. Whether demons are naturally inclined to such specificity, or made so by observing a confluence of specific events in our world, is a subject of much debate, and not the question of my experiment would answer. Instead, I turn to the question of fear. We think of fear demons as lesser creatures, powerful but simple, like those common beasts of rage or hunger. But fear has many faces, from the absurd phobias of the pampered nobility to the very real threats of magic demons, dragons, perhaps especially the Blight. What event has shaped the course of human history more than the Blights? Had the first Blight not weakened it, the Devenger Imperium would have crushed Andraste's rebellion. We'd have no Ferelden, no circles, and indeed no Chantry as we know it. The Blight is unequaled as a force of devastation and terror, hated and feared by peasant and king alike, from the northern hills of the Anderfells to the southern reaches of the Kokari wilds. I know of nothing else that inspires such universal and specific fear. Dragons and demons, yes, but both have found respect and fascination in cultures across Thedas. Only the Blight is an unadulterated source of horror. There exists a demon of fear who has shaped itself into a more intelligent, more specific mold, who will be a demon focusing on fear of the Blight. This is the experiment I undertake. By the time you read this, my friends, I will be asleep, traveling through the Fade to find such a creature. If I am correct, it will yield an unparalleled source of information on the history of our world, wisdom hidden since the time of ancient Devenger. I have instructed the scribes to write quickly upon my return. I will have much to impart. A letter found beside the sleeping body of Senior Enchanter Jessamine. The last known communication before her subsequent possession and in the death. Along with 12 mages, 9 Templars, and uncounted apprentices, and tranquil at the hands of Knight Captain Hulgar. Jessamine, that's a freaking badass name, man. Poison Spider. The dawning of our understanding was violent and terrifying, made all the more so because the mistaken awe and glory it replaced. We had walked into a cavern on the word of the shaman, and we were not disappointed. Row upon row, an army of dusty figurines, men and women, pack animals, and what appeared to be staged tableaus of scavengers, as though silent commentary. We imagined it the toy battalion of a mad king, funded by mountains of gold, or the subject of some cruel empress sealed away with her upon death. It was to all of us a wondrous sight, and yet another example of how we mortals are pretenders to creation and immortality. Then we asked ourselves, why are they all looking upward? And the answer was upon us. A sound from above, and then the legs, fangs, and poison. I do not know the number. Less than the nightmares bear, but still too many. Only quick fires from our circle apprentice allowed us to retreat. But not all. Several of our number were paralyzed in the instant, as must have been the case for so many before. When I close my eyes, I see them, new recruits to that silent army, frozen in praise of new weak ceiling, waiting to be hollowed. Oh. So that's... Oh, the spider's got him. Excerpted from We Need Not Demons. A Dangerous World, a collection of natural horrors and wonders, edited by Philium, a bard. So there's the nightmares. Great Bear's picture. Excuse me, I had to clear my throat, or else it would have sucked to read more. Red Templar Guardsman. Okay. Jairus. When I saw Templars marching up the road, my heart was glad. I asked if they'd come to stop the rebel mages who burned down the farms. But one growled it was none of our business. That was when I noticed his eyes were red. Not like he'd had a long night at the inn, but really, truly red. Verney announced these were the band's lands, and it was his business who was in them. The Templar bastard cut him down without a word. A dozen of us against 3 of them, and we never got a strike past their shields. They're stronger than any man I've known. The Templars swung full tower shields of metal like they weighed nothing. We had to run. Held the band to seal the castle gates against any visiting Templars. Letter from guardsmen employed by Van Arkwold. Damn. It's rough. Snowflare. Right? What's this? Terror. Isn't that the same picture? The freaking nightmare up there? Oh, how dare you. We heard their screams from miles away out in the darkness where we couldn't see anything. Once, back when I worked on my uncle's farmhold in the Benorn, there was a calf that fell into a gulch and broke its leg. I should have run for help, but I felt that I could drag it back to safety on my own. It wasn't strong enough, however, and each time I tried to pull its leg, that calf screaming haunts me to the day. And that's what I heard out there. Like that calf was coming for me, coming to rip off my leg so slowly that I knew what it felt like. But we all heard something different, you see. One of the others said he'd run into the darkspawn at Ostagar, and the scream he heard was from something called a shriek. Another said it was a dragon roar, just like the beast that had burned his family. That's when I knew what was out there was a demon, something that wasn't just looking to make us afraid. It wanted us gibbering in terror. It wanted us running for our lives, and we did. I couldn't rightly tell you what it even looked like. There was something in the shadows, and even though we were ready, when it let out that howl, I turned and ran. I couldn't even control myself. My bowels turned to water. I dropped my sword and I took off. It was only later when I realized I was separated from the others, and that there were more of those demons out there hungry for more of my panic and fears. From a report given by Heron, soldier of the Frelm Army 915 Dragon. Tusken. What is a Tusken? Was it a hippo? I don't remember running into one. But the curving tusks protruding from the snout are present in both males and females of the species. Rarely used in combat, the upper tusks play an important part in the mate selection. It is believed that tuskets choose prospective mates based not only on the size but also the curve and even slight color variation found in another's tusks. Considering tuskets bond for life, careful mate selection is crucial for the continued success of the herd. Bonded tuskets have been gently clicking their tusks together as a sign of affection. The role of the tusket's signature ornamentation in the mating process led to an unfortunate rumor that their tusks could increase virility in other species. Although usually docile, tuskets will defend themselves if cornered, or if someone attempts to saw off part of their anatomy. It is said Baron Vandemine lost 3 servants this way, from observed behaviors in the common tusket by Tilda Adair. The Vargist. It's pretty creepy. The Vargist is now known to be a distant relative of wyverns and dragons, but in ancient times it was believed to be a spirit manifest in the world. Syrian legend says that this Vargist hunts those who have committed great wrongs against their own kin, and when the creature finds its quarry, it drags the guilty party to the gods for judgment. This is perhaps due to the beast's hunting habits. Vargists prefer to bring prey still living to their nest to feed their young. From a study of southern draconids by Frederick Serrault, published by the University of Berlin. Oh yeah, good for you, dude. The ropes! These are all the same picture, huh? Alright. Kunari Dreadnoughts. You think it's hard to fight the Kunari on land? We've never had to face them on open water. No wind, sails hanging limp, but those giant bastards keep coming. We've always mocked the Kunari for their mindless servitude, but we saw their discipline as they steadily closed their oars in perfect form even as our galley slaves flagged and faltered. They pulled alongside, their great ship twice the length of ours, and we drew steel, ready for them to board. Instead, a great series of blasts rocked the waves, spewing smoke everywhere. Iron balls the size of a man's head flew as though fired from a bow. They ripped through the whole mast and sailor alike. Our ship came apart like a child's toy. I'd have died in the water had a trading ship not come by to investigate the wreckage. That was the day I learned that although the Imperium might win the war against the Kunari on land, I will never defeat them at sea. It was also the day I decided to try life as a merchant's guard. An excerpt from the Exiles of the Empire by Gregorius Epigate. Wow. Alvashalath. Our wagon was traveling from the port village to one of the larger cities when they fell upon us. They shrieked like beasts. Their facial markings were savage and nonsensical, their brutal weapons chipped and uncared for. They stank of unwashed sweat as they charged. The Talbashas snarled as they fought. One of the workers was bitten. The guards cut them down with blades until they fled, then finished the rest with arrows. We followed their trail into the forest and found their camp. There were women, hunched and cowering as no woman should be. Filthy children, thin and underfed, and corpses. I will always remember the corpses. There were more Talvishoth as well, and the guards cut them down. As they disarmed the last Talvishoth, one guard asked him why he lived like this, why he acted in this manner. The Talvishoth looked at him in the eye and said, "I'd deny the Cume." Then he threw himself upon the guard's blade. I have questioned the Cume. I believe many of us have, although we do not admit it to each other. When I saw that rage in the Talvishoth warrior's eyes, when I saw the horrible savagery that the Cume alone holds in check, I knew where I belonged. I am not a perfect Kunari, but I know my place and my purpose. I am content. Excerpt from an interview with a Kunari worker in Kirkwall. Deventor Society. For those outside the Deventor Imperium, it is easy to imagine a society filled with mages and elven slaves and little else. In truth, there are 3 different Deventors, each of them a world completely separated from the other. There are the mages, the land's nobility, completely obsessed with competing for supremacy with each other, almost to the exclusion of paying any heed to the nation's enemies, such as the Kunari, the well-bred Altis sneer at the Latans, who in turn sneer at the Praetari. They vie for dominance in the magisterium, where factions shift and flow on a daily basis with deadly consequences, requiring every family to put on a veneer of perfect citizenship or face scandal and censure. Then there are the so-called Soperati, sleepers. These are the non-magical citizens who vastly outnumber the mages, yet are beholden to their whims. Many are resentful of this status, plotting in secret, even as they secretly hope their children will possess magical talent. An enticing lure, since the talent could conceivably show up in anyone, even a slave. It would be easy to forget that Tevinter possesses a massive class of publicans, the civil servants and leaders of the legionaries. It has an enormous merchant class, though teeming poor drown any other nation in Thetis, and the shadowy thieves call Praesumptor, who are practically treated with respect. And then there are the slaves. One would think they at least see each other as equals, but it does not so. The divide between the free liberati, those who act as personal servants to magisters, those who work on farms and factories, and the service publicus, who do all the tasks proper citizens will not. It is all but insurmountable, perhaps an emulation of those who own them. Imperial slaves will connive and scheme to try anyhow. Outsiders might see it as futile, but the Deventor citizens, their nature's social classes, are the most mutable and rewarding of merit in all things. Further journey to the pursuit of knowledge. That's pretty crazy. The Carta. The castless dwarves of Orzammar have few prospects. Consigned to live in a crumbling ruin on the social and economic fringes of the mighty dwarven capital, most resort begging, prostitution, or crime. Just as all rivers eventually join the sea, all castles who turn to crime eventually become part of the Carta. The hero Ferelden decimated the ranks of this ancient gang while rallying the dwarves to join the battle against the archdemon Themiel. Unable to recover the power they once had in Orzammar, they turned their attention topside, using groups of surface-dwelling dwarves to smuggle their weapons, lyrium, and surface luxuries, people and other goods between Orzammar and human lands. Despite the flow of business, its members are still desperate and violent. With no strong leader to rein in their excesses, they have little sense of dwarven honor and freely break their word. Cross allies and renege on deals? I don't know. Renege, I don't know. From the Stone and her children dwarves to the Dragon Age. My brother Janet Huey, he was busy. The Imperial Chantry. There are those who would tell you that chantry is the same everywhere as it is here, that the divine in Valrio reigns supreme in the eyes of the Maker, that it is. This fact is unquestioned throughout Thetis. Do not believe it. The Maker's second commandment, magic must serve man, not rule over him, never held the same meaning within the ancient Deventor Imperium as it did elsewhere. The Chantry there interpreted the rule as meaning that mages should never control the minds of other men, and that otherwise their magic should be benefit to the rulers of men as much as possible. When the clerics of Deventor altered the chant of light to reflect this interpretation of the commandment, the divine of Valrael ordered the clerics to revert to the original chant. They refused, claiming corruption within Valrael, an argument that grew until 487 Towers. The Chantry of Deventor elected its own legitimate and uncorrupted divine Valhael, who was not only male, but also happened to be one of the most prominent members of the Deventor Circle of Magi. This black divine was reviled outside of Deventor. His existence, an offense to the Chantry in Valrael. After the four exalted marches to dislodge these rebels, all that the Chantry and Valrail accomplished was to submit the separation. While most aspects of the Imperial Chantry's teaching are the same, prohibitions against magic have been weakened, and male priests have become more prevalent. The Circle of Magi today rules Deventer directly. Ever since the Archon Nomera was elected in 734 Storm directly from the ranks of the Enchanters to the great applause from the public. He dispensed with the old rules forbidding mages from taking part in politics, and within an age, the true rulers within the various imperial houses, the mages, took their places openly within the government. The Imperial Divine is now always drawn from the ranks of the first enchanters and operates as a divine and grand enchanter both. This is utter heresy, to any member of the Chantry outside Deventer, a return to the days of the Magisters, which brought the blights down upon us. But it exists, and even though we may have left the Deventer Imperium to the mercies of the dread Kunari, still they have endured. Further confrontation between the Black Divine and our so-called White Divine is inevitable. From Edicts of the Black Divine by Father David of Carinus, 811 Blessed. The Magisterium. There is a mistaken impression outside the Deventer Imperium that a magister is simply a mage, and the mere act of being a mage is all that is required to be among the ruling class. A misperception aided, no doubt, by some Deventer mages claiming the title outside the homeland and taking advantage of its reputation. In truth, being a magister requires one hold a seat in the magisterium, the upper house of the Imperial Senate. This is the body that makes laws and which chooses the new Archon if there is no approved heir. The Senate lowers the House. The Publicanum consists of elected officials, but it has no true power and considered a bureaucratic body. Magisters, meanwhile, come from the ranks of the Circle of Magi and the Imperial Chantry, but most hold their seats by virtue of Archon, and Archon having granted it to their family long ago. It is not technically required for a magister to be a mage. Indeed, after the transfiguration that saw the old gods abandon Androstianism embraced, most were not. Since the Tower's age, however, non-mages in the magisterium have slowly been weeded out. A true magister is thus a figure of no power in Deventer. All other mages serve at their pleasure, and any mage not of proper lineage has no influence outside of that which personal wealth and talent provide. From the Ancient North by Sister Vitrine, Chantry Scholar. Alright, number 25, the Orlesian Civil War. When Grand Duke Gaspard attacked Celine of Orlais in an attempt to claim the throne, we assumed business across the country would suffer greatly. Through counter-propaganda suggesting she was overly tolerant of the elves, Celine was drawn to crush an elven uprising in Helem Sharal. Gaspard's attack there destroyed her forces and cut her off from Valrail. She escaped back to the Orlesian capital, with 100 mad stories explaining how, at which, expecting Gaspard's army to carve a bloody path through the heartlands and up north toward the cities loyalist to Celine. Instead, the humans have been downright reasonable. We made a killing on furs and silver in Valrail. Gaspard's hold on southern Orlais cut off from incoming trade goods from Ferelden. The nobles of Montfort and Valchevin also bought up violets, as though their touch killed Darkspawn. Apparently, Celine declared that wearing purple flowers was a way for humans to show their loyalty to her. In Ferelden, half of the cities would be on fire. But in Orlais, the nobles make jokes, and the merchants just keep peddling their wares while Gaspard and Celine's armies clash in theirs. The only people really suffering are the peasants, but then that's true enough everywhere. Send extra guards on the next shipment to say Delirium for Ferelden. His family's doing good business here. It is. From a letter of Eternal Herrick, Gordon merchant whose family lost it. The Venatori. I know what you've been telling the others. We mount the word cult and repeat the lies the Chantry has been spewing at us for 1,000 years. Look around you, my friend. Seek the mighty Deventerers today. A once proud nation, brought low, barely able to hold itself against the Oxmen. We neutered our mages at the behest of a foreign religion, exalted their false maker, and became the laughing stock of all theists. Now we have the chance to reclaim what is rightly ours, but only if we act. We cannot wait to see which way the wind is blowing. We must make it blow. The Venatori are hunters, recruited in secret over several years. We will descend with deadly purpose, to spill the blood of the South and make it right for conquest. When we return to our homeland, we will be as victors, with a new god as our patron. Then, the cowards who refused to aid us will know their mistake in full. Reported its evidence to the Varantium Circle of Magi, Dragon 940. Bashoth, the Grey Ones. Why do you keep asking me about the human? I'm not Kunari. I met a human once who made shoes. Why don't you tell me about shoemaking? You met more Kunari than I have. I've lived my whole life here in the bar. No, I'm not Talbashoth. Talbashoth are rebels. You can't rebel against something you've never seen. I'm Vishoth. No, I didn't use the same word. It's Vishoth, not Talbashoth. Nobody told me humans couldn't hear speech. No. I hate humans. Unused portion of a transcript from an interview with Kasala. Kunari Goat Herder found notes of brother Unity. Oh, I love it. Alright. Well, that's going to be it for this episode of Codex reading. I'm going to keep it a little bit shorter for you guys so you don't have to listen, even though some of you guys like that, so whatever. It was long enough, alright? So I will see you guys in the next one. Oh god, my Xbox is reading my hands, wants me to do things. Anyway, thank you for watching. Bye!